Just to let you know, we're now live at the JTB meeting. So if I can do my introductions. Welcome to this meeting of the Joint Transportation Board. For the benefit of those watching on YouTube, members of the board are present in the chamber, and these members will be voting on the proposals this evening. Other members of the council are present either in the chamber or participating online via MS Teams and can take part in any discussions, ask questions, but cannot vote. Your attention is drawn to agenda item 1, sets out the guidance on how meetings will be conducted. Before we start the formal business, we will do a sound check and confirm attendance of voting members by doing a roll call, which I'm going to ask Sally to do.
Thank you, Chair. We'll start with the Borough Councillors. When I call your name, please, can you confirm that you are present? Councillor Coffin?
Present.
Councillor Cannon?
Present.
Councillor Cole?
Present.
Councillor Chris? Currently not in member. Councillor Davies?
Present.
Councillor Hoskins?
Present.
Councillor Thornewell?
Present.
We'll now move on to County Councillors. Councillor Dean is currently not in the chamber. Councillor Hood?
Present.
Councillor Hudson?
Here.
Councillor Kennedy is currently not in the chamber. Councillor Rayner?
Present.
Councillor Cian is currently not in the chamber. And we have received apologies from Councillor Steptoe. For the parish reps from the Calc Kent Association of Local Councils, I can see Sarah Barker is with us online. It was online. Maybe there was a technical issue. So we have received apologies from Tim Shaw and Sue Butterfield as reps from Calc. Now I can confirm we have 9 voting members present.
Thank you, Sally. That's very helpful. We've obviously just done apologies. Are there any other apologies you wish to come from the floor? Thinking of Councillor Crisp. He hasn't sent apologies. Okay. No substitute members. Any declarations of interest? None. Thank you. Can I sign the minutes of the previous meeting? Thank you. That's excellent. So we're moving on to agenda item 5, which is the Parking Action Plan Phase 15. As you know, we've emailed out to everybody asking for comments. So if I could ask Andy just to introduce the item, and then it's my intention to go through each of the schemes as laid out in Annex 1 and ask for your input as we need it. So, Andy.
Good evening, members. This report covers the current progress for our Phase 15 Parking Action Plan. Specifically, this is the outcome of our recently conducted informal consultation. And we have put all this information into the relevant annexes attached to this report, along with Annex 1, which puts together recommendations for some sites, but in many sites asks for members' views. And that's pretty much it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So what I suggest is that we'll go through these one at a time. Don't forget, this is an informal consultation. So this is the opportunity to keep things in, kick them out, or even suggest slight modifications before they go to a formal consultation. So on page 23, and I'm going to do these one at a time, and if nothing happens, we'll see what we're going to do. Phase 1501 in Aylesford. And the suggestion there is to proceed to formal consultation. Rob.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I strongly support this, as does Borough Councillor Colin Williams. So I I'd support it going to formal consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. If we can do these one at a time, it saves a lot of time at the end. So agreed on that? Thank you. Phase 15.2 Borough Green. Mike, this is double yellow lines. And it's suggested that we don't go to consultation.
Sorry, where were the double yellow lines?
Second. So this is on Borough Green, Fairfield Road.
Oh, yeah, yes. We do support this. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my mind was elsewhere.
So we can ditch that one. Agreed? Thank you very much. Borough Green Y Road. This is where you've requested double yellow lines, and we're seeking the views of the local members. If you're interested, we'll go to page, wherever it is, where there is more detail. So 15.3 is to be wrapped up with 15.4 in Borough Green. So, Mike.
Y Road, the parish council and local members definitely support this, but I'm not sure about resident support. Thank you.
So we have got 135 against the proposals and 23 in favour. So whilst the parish council might support it, can I have the views of the committee, please? Yes. Yes, if you'd like to. Andy, you've done the analysis.
Yes, the consultation was done in it was one location, but two different issues. Residents asked for two different sets of changes there. One was to have double yellow lines on the entrance way into the narrow bits of Y Road and its whole Mead area, and one was to have a residents parking scheme covering the same area. We consulted on both of them together and asked two questions: do you want both or just bits of? And the support was for introducing the yellow line restriction, but not for doing the residents parking.
Yes, Mike.
Well, I'm happy to support the yellow lines because that got a general consensus and democracy speaks. So we withdraw our support for the residents parking scheme.
So in that case, can we keep the double yellow lines and abandon the residents parking? Thank you. Phase 15.5, Bell Lane in Ditton. Any, Rob?
Thank you, Chair. I'll just read out a letter I wrote about this because it's pretty, not much has changed really. I managed to speak to several residents about the parking permit proposal, and of these, none were in favour. While there's an issue firmly rise, the opinion that there is that the problem will be better solved by installation of bollards on the verges that do not have them, as the problem specifically there is pavement or verge parking. As for Bell Lane, residents were concerned about the cost of the scheme given the current cost of living crisis. They felt it was a solution for a problem that didn't really exist, creating an annual cost while still not guaranteeing a parking place. The only real concern appeared to be an enforcement matter, i.e. parking on existing yellow lines by AD fisheries, when because of parked cars, drivers leaving Bell Lane were often confronted head-on by people exiting the A20 onto Bell Lane. Given the opposition of local residents, for the reasons given that I generally support, I'm against these proposals. Thank you.
Is that agreed? Thank you. So back to you again, Rob. And that is 06, which is Scott Close Junction.
Yes, I support this entirely as it's junction enforcement. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a little more interesting because the in favour was 15 and against was 17. But if it's to enforce traffic highways, I think it's an acceptable proposal. Andy, do you have any comments? Should we agree that one? Thank you. East Malling is 15.7, Temple Way. Are there any views from? Have we received any views since? So we've obviously got 9 against, 4 in favour. Michelle, did you want to say anything?
Well, I'd be happy for that one to proceed to formal consultation. Roger's online. Roger raised this one initially, so I don't know if he's got any additional comments.
Roger,
yeah,
you're online.
I would agree with it. Yes, I'm online, Martin. I would agree wholeheartedly with Michelle there. It was raised by one resident who finds it difficult to get out of her drive, apparently. I'm not necessarily sure that's correct, but I'd go along with it going to consultation.
Are the committee agreed with that? Thank you. All right, moving on to 15.9. This is Kingfisher Road. David, do you have anything to say on that one? I beg your pardon, I've missed one out. So, yes, back to Rocks Road. Michelle.
Thank you for letting me speak. I'm not a member of your board. I've provided a plan with an alternative. If I could just pull up my copy of it. So I think the main issue is on the bend, which I've marked in purple on the map. So I think that's certainly, I'm very much in support of the yellow lines there. My query is the next sort of bit that I've marked with a sort of blue hatch, which I think I think that should be retained for parking because of the lack of parking for the terraced properties. And having some yellow lines on the access or at the mouth of the access to the coach house and 132 to 136, because there clearly is a problem there that was highlighted through the informal consultation. So it would be good to have that protected in some way. And it was just that little bit in sort of the lighter blue that I hadn't really decided actually whether double yellows are needed there or not. It's a bit narrow, and my concern is that if we did end up with yellow lines further east and you had people parking on that narrower section, it could be difficult. But actually, I don't think people are generally parking on that point at the moment. So I guess what I'm asking for is for it to go to consultation with double yellows where the purple line is, no double yellows where the dotted blue is. So that would retain parking for the terrace. And I'm a bit ambivalent to the bit with the blue. I'd like some advice, really. You've been out and had a look yourselves and what your view is on that.
Thank you, Michelle. You're about to get a technical answer, I think.
Okay, trying to work out how to do this by the medium of mime for those that don't have a plan. The suggestions made by Councillor Tatton are very welcome. We can certainly look at introducing the restriction on the bend and opposite bend. The sections where there are vehicle accesses, property access on the south side of the road that were proposed for double yellow lines, we can certainly look to keep those within as double yellow lines within the proposals. The section within that you've highlighted blue, which is between the two accesses on the south side, it would depend on the road width. But if you're already wanting to have not have double yellow line restrictions in the area closer to the terrace property, it's about the same road. So we could look at that to maintain that for parking as well. I can't guarantee that people are going to want to use it due to road width. The big question is what happens on the north side of the road. If you allow parking on the south side, you really ought to prevent it, right? Because you had just one person choosing to park on the north side, on the bump up half on the footway, you will totally obstruct the road at that. That would be my suggestion. That we can take forward the points raised by to introduce gaps to allow parking on the south side, but effectively that retains. Is that a summary of what you would want to have there?
I think on the basis of that advice, that I'm happy with that. One thing I didn't mention, which I raised in the email, is the gate that is for 132 and 136, and whether there's anything within that section that can, while allowing parking to retain in that dotted blue, that could also restrict parking in front of that gate, because that trying to keep everyone happy at that location, and that, I think that is a problem that, I sympathise with that resident who has to get in and out of his gate and has vehicles directly outside.
This is informal consultation, and it's the opportunity to give proposals like this a shape to get them into a better state. And we can certainly look at a short stretch of double yellow lines in front of the gate as well. And we'll revise the proposals, agree to take them forward. We'll revise the proposals, circulate them to you, make sure that we're expecting.
You're happy with that? In that case, from the chair, I propose those changes. Are we agreed as the board? Thank you. David, your turn now. Sorry.
I support those proposals.
Is that agreed by the board? Thank you. So we're now on to Lunsfield Lane. Again,
The same. I
Same.
support those too.
agreed. Thank you. Plaxtall, and we are now looking at 1511. And I guess, Harry, you'd like to speak to that.
Chairman, thank you very much. The answer on this one is that it does not, unless the officers are going to tell me something different, carry the majority of residents. But if the officers have a different view on the situation, I'll be interested in the numbers.
I think reading the paper, they have the same view.
It's only because the papers come out sometime in advance, and I just want to make sure that there hasn't been a sudden rush of support. So I oppose this and ask the committee to support my recommendation for refusal.
And of course, for completeness, Councillor Lark has also changed to non-support. Sarah, is that what you're going to say? Okay, thank you. Are you agreed to drop this proposal? Thank you. You're halfway through. So, Ryash, this is Woodgate Road and Ruffits Road Junction. Anyone wish to speak to this? Have we had any correspondence? Nope. And it looks like we've got more against than in favour. So should we drop that proposal? Thank you. 1513. And this is in Bourne. And anyone wish to speak to that? Harry.
Thank you, Chairman. Once again, not wanting to sound like a crack record, but I find very much that there is strong opposition to this in Shibham. Every person who's contacted me on it has been seeking that this should not, the proposal would not go through, and I so move.
Again, for completeness, Councillor Lark has changed his position to non-support. Not to go forward? Thank you very much. Nodland, 1514, and this is Brook Lane. Angus, do you wish to say anything?
Yes, I'm not a member of the committee. The one that we were looking at, I think, was that Charles Close. Was that coming up later?
That's a little later. This is Brook Lane.
Right.
And is essentially we have 6 in favour, 1 against, and I think we have some other comments from Andy.
Yeah, so we've had contact from both Councillor Chapman and Councillor Bell, who are both supportive of.
I think with that in mind, we go to consultation. Yes, thank you. So we're now on May Street, requested by Abassa.
I've got some comments here on this from both Councillor Chapman and Bell, again, both supporting the introduction of double yellow lines to aid the waste collection.
And I think reading the papers, it also helps with the highway code. So even though there are a number against, I think we set that aside and go to consultation. Is that agreed? Yep. Snodland, 1516, Andy.
Thank you, Chair. Again, both Councillors Chapman and Bell are both in support of the restrictions on the bend to prevent obstructed parking.
I think again we can take that. Yep. Right, so we're now on to 1517, and this is Snodland West and Holborough Lakes. Right, isn't it? Do you have comments there? Angus?
Not a member of your committee, Chair. I wish to comment on behalf of our residents on this. Generally speaking, the double yellows residents want them, so generally it's to agree that with the following pointers. At the end of Charles Close, there is like not the cul-de-sac at the bottom, top one. The idea was if we could have the double yellows around that little end bit. It is important, however, that we're agreeing to this going ahead, and we do not want to prolong the double yellows going in. That's just a request on that. Then we want to see how this takes before considering residents parking. So it is to go with the double yellows. So it's agreed. That's the proposal.
Thank you. In terms of other councillor feedback, there's quite a strong reaction. So both Councillor Hickmott, Chapman and Bell were against Charles Close in terms of the residents' parking scheme, but both Hickmott and Bell were both supportive of double yellow lines the same way suggested.
Andy?
Yes, if I may, this is a location where, again, there were two sets of proposals from residents, and so we consulted on them both at the same time. But it's relating to residents parking and yellow lines to prevent obstructive parking. And again, residents are indicating that they're supportive of the yellow line restrictions, or the double yellow lines. Now, with the comments about introducing restrictions further into, I'll call it the stub end rather than the cul-de-sac end of the close, there is a slight issue with highway boundary issue there, that the highway boundary doesn't go to the full extent of what people are choosing to park on. So that's something that we'll need to look at carefully, but if we can include that in a revision to the proposal, should the board want to take it forward, we'll certainly look to do so.
With respect to the parking and the double yellow lines, is that agreed the way forward? Thank you. Next one is the Snodland Holly Hill, but that's been dropped in March, so we can skip that unless anyone has any comments. In which case we move on to 1520, which is now in Tunbridge. This is Chiltern Way, Dernier Road. Any comments from Tunbridge members? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I am against this, just reflecting residents' views. So that would be my reason. I'm reflecting what people have said in the survey.
I was just looking to see if there's another comment. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's 46 against and 19 in favour. Should we drop that proposal? Thank you. Again, in Tunbridge, Douglas Road. And I guess this is yours, Mark.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's sensible to go to the next stage.
So we can move 15, 21 and 22, or just 15, 21? No, they're the same, aren't they? 15, 21, 22 to consultation. Agreed. Thank you. Next one is in Judd. 1523.
I think we've already achieved this one.
1524. Over to you.
Yeah. Although it's finely balanced, I think that the safety issues here are such that it's definitely worth going for the second consultation. I'm hoping my residents will see the benefits of this.
Agreed. 1524 goes to consultation. Thank you. I think I heard someone. 1525 already completed. 1526. We have some comments from Des, I believe.
Thank you, Chair. So Councillor Kears has been in touch and written a very lengthy response in relation to both 1526 and 1527. 1526 is for Hallsfield Road, which is the request to review central parking permits scheme. It's fair to say that we've received a petition in relation to this, and the vast majority of residents were against this. Councillor Kears agrees with that and recommends that this is the second one. Sorry, Chair. The second one, which is Woolslade, Robin Hood Lane. The informal consultation suggested some double yellow lines at locations to deter commuter parking. Councillor Kears has requested that these be changed to single yellow lines, with the single yellow lines being extended to the far cul-de-sac end of Robin Hood Lane at Teed.
Thank you. So with those changes, should we agree? Thank you very much. 1528, I believe, is next. It's Walderslade again. Sorry, yeah, Andy, you're about to say something.
Sorry, Chair. I've had no feedback on Woodbury Road at all.
Given that the response is 7 against 3 in favour, I guess we drop that one. Is that agreed? Thank you. Right, Waldham. So we're now looking at Worrell Drive. That's 1529. Right.
Thank you, Chairman. This is the tip of the iceberg of a parking problem that was created by IGN 3 right from the word go. And Peters Village is short of about 750 parking spaces. What we're going to do now is to add to that problem, but I think it's absolutely essential that we put in the double yellow lines on all the junctions. Essential we work on the traffic islands, and I would very much like to conduct further consultation with the residents on the remaining things to really understand, realise that they understand the problems of we're going to have with the parking. But I think they're absolutely right that we do have problems on these major roads within the village. So I think we must go ahead with this as it is. But I do ask, can we come and discuss with the officers, having talked to the residents, about what goes out on the formal consultation?
Thank you, Councillor Davis. I also understand that KCC themselves have some proposals in this area for some restrictions, and would look to try and harmonise with those. There's another issue associated with this, that the adoptions of some of the highways in the area are still not quite confirmed from KCC, and we're seeking some clarity on that. And if we would need to look at adjusting the proposals that we currently have to reflect the extent of the highway boundary information, we would trim to the restrictions to fit those extents. I'm happy to discuss with Councillor Davis and Councillor Dalton the proposals as we have them at the moment, and what we can do to try and increase levels of parking. But the proposals that we've already tabled are intended to not prevent parking, but to constrain parking to one side of the road. The road isn't wide enough to maintain 2 lanes of traffic on both sides, on Worrell Drive or Keeper's Cottage Lane. and still maintain 2 rows of traffic and have parking on both sides. So we've got to pick one side to say no and one side to allow, and that's what the proposals are intended, and also to protect the areas around traffic islands and of course around the school.
Agree with this going forward.
Thank you, Dave. Andy.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just need to put on record that Councillor Dawson has objected to the proposal, not supportive of this moving forwards. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that. So with that proviso that there is a dialogue, and you're happy with that, will the board agree to that suggestion? Thank you very much. Final one is in my patch, but Harry, I expect you'll speak to it.
Well, Chairman, subject to any views you may have on the matter yourself, I am proposing supporting that this go forward to further consultation, and so move.
And I'm in agreement with that. So is everyone else happy with that on the board? Brilliant. Well, thanks for doing that. I know it was a bit tedious going through one at a time, but I think it was quite important to get the views, because if this goes to formal consultation and it's not right, it just creates a whole storm of rubbish that we don't need. Whereas if we get it right at this stage, it's one step closer. Dave, you wanted to say something?
Yes, there is a residual parking problem up on Common Road. I wonder if Andy could give us an update on that, please.
Dave.
Certainly, this relates to a proposal that was brought to this board as part of Phase 14, which introduced parking restrictions on Common Road to address concerns about displacement parking at the viewpoint, and residents there were not in favour of the proposals, but unfortunately missed the consultation to enable us to take on board their views. They have made their views quite clearly known since then, and we've carried out, following the last board meeting, we've carried out a consultation and on putting the restrictions back to what they were prior to the Phase 14 review, and that consultation has attracted no objection. We've actually had 15 responses in support of the consultation. Actually closed today, so that's why it's not been included in papers. But as there are no objections, it's not an issue that would be onwardly reported to the board except for information. The board's role is to consider objections, and it would then be for the borough's cabinet member to consider whether to.
Thank you, Andy. It's my intention to issue a cabinet member decision probably tomorrow, once we get it written up, to go back to the original at Common Road, and hopefully that's the end of the subject at that. Thank you very much. We've gone through and done everything as we went through, so we're now on to agenda item 7, which is the formal consultation responses for Hildenborough, and I believe we've had a very late submission from the Parish Council, and I don't think it changes a great deal, but Andy, if you'd like to introduce it.
Thank you, Chair. The Hildenborough parking review has been on the books for some time. It started prior to COVID-19 pandemic and was mainly aimed at addressing the commuter parking issues and parking issues around the school on High Road, and as an update to restrictions in the area. After the COVID pandemic, it took a while for parking habits to re-establish themselves, and they have settled into a new pattern as there's less station commuting and more work from home. So that's had a significant change on what our proposals were. At the informal consultation stage, we reduced the proposals significantly. We took out elements of residence parking and pay parking that were not seen to be required anymore, and we've proceeded with formal consultation on the proposal. The proposals are listed in the report. in section 4.6, and the plans are attached as well. Going through the consultations responses, though, we've got a significant level of response. Get a lot of trees, used a lot of paper whilst printing out the responses. Sorry to our green members there. I was going to say no trees were hurt in the making of this report, but there's quite a lot. And the majority of the responses were indicating there isn't a need for these changes. And that is a significant element of them. There are some locations where there are some proposals that have seemed to be had some merit. One is reference 3 Ashley Road, where there were objections, however, slightly more support. And it's introducing double yellow lines at the entrance. Cul-de-sac. It's standalone compared to the other proposals. And that's what we're suggesting, or that the recommendation is to set aside objection on that one. Further down the consultation, we have the area, section reference 12, which is Watts Cross Road and the B245 London Road. This goes down past the van dealership. I think it's Harvest Garage, where there's been issues with parking on the opposite side from the garage, and we can address that. There seems to be demand for it by maintaining the restrictions that we proposed there from Watts Cross Road, and on the north side bringing it down to Foxbush, and on the south side bringing it from Watts Cross Road down to Noble Tree Road. So section that is covered. We also had comments at a very late comments, Parish Council, relating to Stocks Green Road, Lye Road junction, close to the school on Lye Road, where they wish to have retain the double yellow lines at the junction opposite the double yellow line opposite the Stocks Green Road, and also relating to Riding Park and the Riding Lane junction, just to maintain function around. That's all they wanted to maintain. So the proposals are significantly reduced from what taken out to consultation. The recommendation, the report is to set aside the objections for location 3 Ashley Road and for reference 12 Watts Cross Road, B245 London Road, and the Parish Council have also requested maintain restrict proposals Riding Lane, Riding Park junction, Stocks Green Road junction.
Andy, just for clarity, that's item 8, 9 and 10 on our papers on page 87.
It's the items at no, it's item 8, 9, 12 and 3, and it's reduced from the proposals at locations apologies, no, it's Ashley Road is 3, it's the oops, I wrote it the same name, bear with me. No, it's Riding Lane North.
Andy, whilst you're looking at that, I've got two people. I've seen you, Mark. I've also seen Harry. I think you were first, if you'd like to come in.
This one, I'm happy to defer to my borough colleague and hand over to Mark Rhodes with your consent. Happy to follow on after. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark? Mark Rhodes online. Yep.
Chairman, thanks. I am not a member of the Joint Transportation Board. Okay, firstly, I'd like to extend deep appreciation to Andy Bracey and his team, if he's got a team, or Andy Edwards, if he's part of the team, so to speak. The Hilton Borough Parking, as mentioned, has been dragging on for quite a while now. It must have started literally a light year ago. So I really wouldn't be surprised at all if Andy was sick and tired of looking at Hildenborough proposals. Right, so the proposals. Right, Ashley Road. Now, the difference in numbers between those wanting it and not wanting it is 1. So I got off my backside earlier on and I went down to Ashley Road and I banged on all the doors immediately where this double yellow line will affect people. And I spoke to all households except one household who wasn't in or didn't answer. One lady has now changed her mind. One lady had no opinion, so we can say she doesn't want it, and all the others were against. So at this point, I would ask, Chairman, and I can't ask because I'm not a member, but I would ask if the Ashley Road could be deleted and not proceed with double yellow lines. Double yellow lines at the ends of the corners would be welcome, although going there again, as I said earlier on, there doesn't seem to be a need. But the double yellow line, I think I would prefer not to go ahead because it does affect people and those people will have to park around the corner in Ashley Road. The B245 from Foxbush up to Watts Cross in front of the garage, I think the whole of Hildenborough probably support that. So all other matters to be adjourned and not proceeded with. I would support the parish council double yellow lines on the corners as they've asked and opposite Stocks Green Road at the entrance to opposite Stocks Green Road and the entrance to Riding Park, providing those lines on Lye Road don't stretch too far up to the school. It needs to be immediately opposite the Stocks Green Road. If that's not possible, I suppose, do we have to go for a renewed transport TO proposal? Otherwise, other than that, Chairman, I'll just re-emphasise once more, I really would prefer Ashley Road double yellow lines not to go ahead. And once again, thanks to Andy and Andy. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mark. Anna.
Thank you. I'm being the proxy for Councillor Barton, who gave blood and has now had a funny turn and is not able to be here. Could I just check, Andy, what the parish council's views were on number 12, please? Thank you.
The parish didn't comment at all on that element.
Thank you. I thought I might just have not listened properly to that. So as Kath's proxy, she feels that Hildenborough does not need any more double yellow lines, and that she feels that the main point of view people she'd spoken to is that they would rather have what is there already enforced by more visits from traffic wardens than adding anything else. So she, at the moment, doesn't feel there should be any changes to parking in Hildenborough. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Obviously, you're acting as proxy, but not a substitute in this circumstance. Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear because obviously the proposal needs to come from a member of the committee. Harry.
Thank you, Chairman. And I'm happy to propose as follows. So I propose the recommendations coming forward from Councillor Rhodes, and the same applies. So and he took on board much of what the parish council had said as well. I think also the parish council have included much of what is suggested here I'm making reference, as far as Councillor Rose is concerned, to the exception of Ashley Road, with which I agree. But the parish council were supportive of the bulk of it because they say in their paragraph, Hildenborough Parish Council support the recommendations put forward by the officers at Tunbridge and Morning Borough Council, laid out in the officers' report, paragraphs 3.1 and 3.2. And I'm just going to go on now to say that at Stocks Green Lyre Road Junction, I agree with Councillor Rhodes and also with the Parish Council. Parish Council requests the implementation of no waiting at any time double yellow lines immediately opposite of Stocks Green Road, Lyre Road, indicated in brown orange on the on attached figure 1 map, and no waiting Monday to Friday 8 to 9 and 3 to 4 p.m. and for any existing no waiting at any time along the corners of the junction Stocks Green Road, Lyre Road to remain in place, indicated in red on the attached map. I'm endorsing and proposing that, and then moving to Riding Lane Junction. The Parish Council requests that the double yellow lines of Junction Riding Lane and Riding Park and Riding Lane go around the corners of the junction, only be complemented is circled in figure 2 attached. I won't go through the reasons, Chairman, because there's no point, but I will move the proposed amendments coming forward from Mark Rhodes and from the Parish Council.
I'm just going to turn to Andy Bracey to see if we can encapsulate that into something a little more easy.
Okay, I've had a look at the reference numbers now, and I think I've got them sorted. First off, and I'll do them in number order. Reference 2, that's Riding Lane North, which includes the Parish Council's proposal for Riding Park, and that's just to have the restrictions that they've indicated on a plan. That looks to be a set of junction protection 15 metres in height, which would be the standard response. That's my interpretation of their plan. It is quite a small plan with quite a thick line on it. Hard to tell, but that would seem appropriate at that point. And the proposals that we have there could be reduced within the scope of what we have in the consultation now to encompass. The second location was reference 3, Ashley Road. Taking on board the comment that we've got the consultation responses that were balanced, but Councillor Rhodes has a more recent revision to that consultation. So that would be something to decide on as well. And then item 9, which is Stocks Green Road East, that's where it joins Lyre Road, where it's double yellow lines opposite the junction as proposed on the plans, and retaining the double yellow lines on the west side of the junction, on the side opposite. And the last one is reference 12, which is Watts Cross Road and B245 London Road down past the garage. And the proposal there is to have double yellow lines on both sides, down to Oxbush on the north side and down to Noble Tree Road. Those are the 4 items, as hopefully I've summarised.
Thank you very much. In which case, Harry, is there a seconder? Sarah, and are we agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that's that one done. So we're now moving on to pages 111 to 144, which is the Highways Forward Works Programme. Now, I could either go through these page by page or could ask that you pick these up. What's the preference of the board, please? Because you should have any queries and questions should have been emailed to Andy Watson, who's online currently, for his to answer any queries, questions, or would you like me to go through them page by page? Mike.
I was just going to say I've got comments about page 123, 126 and 128 on the lighting programme. No, I don't want to go into any huge detail, but there are 7 lighting columns there in Borough Green, and none of them are on road names from Borough Green. Shall we have a whip round and by KCC a map of the area? Thank you.
In which case, I think perhaps we'll just skip through these quite quickly. So Appendix A, road, footway, cycleway, renewal, preservation scheme. That's page 113, 114, 115,
Chairman, can
And
I
then-
just pop in
yes.
for a minute on page
Roger.
104, on page 114? I'm not quite sure where Mill Lane is in East Malling. I take it we mean Mill Street there, do we?
Sorry, Roger, I'm just trying to see where that is. Andy, is there any comments on those?
Page 114.
You're talking about Clare Lane?
Yeah, Clear Lane. It says Clear Lane to Mill Lane. There is no Mill Lane in East Malling. It's Mill Street, I believe they're talking about.
Okay, so we could, Andy Watson.
Yeah, good evening, Chair and Board. Yeah, that's correct. That's a typo by the team.
Okay, and just before you start, Martin, I'm sure you'll sympathise with him. We're talking about microsurfacing in this section, and I'm not a member of this board, sorry, but I'm sure you'll sympathise with what I'm about to say here. There's an awful lot of this microsurfacing that's lifting in places, which is leaving holes. I don't know if you've noticed that around Borough Green, but certainly around East Malling there is. Especially along Mill Street, there was quite a few sections missing there. I don't know whether that's a failure of the system or whether it's just a failure of the substrate not being prepared properly. Also, where trenches cross the road, it leaves a bump, and we're just microsurfacing over that bump rather than smoothing it out and making a decent surface. And sorry, this is a bit mercenary, but as a motorcyclist, that's really bad news. You're bumping on them all the time, and it's not very safe. I'd just like to make those points. Thank you.
Andy, I don't know if you've got a quick answer to that.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that the microsurfacing, as you pointed out, is a preservation treatment. It's there to prolong the life of the carriageway. We do, in advance of the actual surfacing program, we do carry out checks and we do pre-planned patching, but the microsurfacing is it's a self-leveler. It levels it out. So I think what you're referring to is actually the surface dressing where it reflects through. That does require pre-patching, and if you have any concerns, if you can email me direct, I'm happy to pass that on to the team.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Is that all right, Roger?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Franny.
I'm on to page 115, and it's lovely to see vast chunks of the pavements of Vauxhall Ward down to be done in 26-27. Thank you very much for that, and I'm sure it's unnecessary for me to say I do hope the work will be sequenced rather than all done at once, and that Deacon Lees can be done in school holiday times, not in term time. Thank you.
Thank you, Franny. Moving on, drainage, pages 116 onwards. No comments. Street lighting. Maybe you should take that up with Andy afterwards to explain where the street lights are. No other comments on street lighting? Harry.
Chairman, just on the first one there, I've lived in Ruton for over 40 years, and I can tell you that there is no Ruton Road, Ruton.
Well spotted.
Ruton Road would be in Borough Green, and I'm fully in favour of chipping in to provide suitable maps for KCC highways.
Yeah, there were some members of KCC here. Anything else on street lighting? We did drainage quickly, but if you'd like to go back to drainage, quite happy to do so. Okay. Right, so we're on to Appendix D, casualty reduction measures. Any comments or questions? No externally funded schemes. Major capital programs. The comments. Developer funded works. Oh, Mike.
No, this is page 134. The A20 London Road, Hall Road Junction. Now, I seem to recall 5, 6, 7 years ago, KCC coming to a JTB and announcing based on obtained funding for the Cold Harbour roundabout and the Quarry Wood, which is the Hall Road Junction. And Cold Harbour's been done, And they were supposed to have the funding 4 or 5 years ago, and yet nothing has yet happened at a Hall Road junction. Is there a reason for that, and what's happened to the money?
Darren.
After a public consultation, the magic roundabout at Quarry Wood was decided to not go ahead, and they would spend the money on better things, such as getting rid of all the fact that the water doesn't drain and it's basically a lake whenever the heavy rainfall. And that was down to Councillor Andrew Kennedy that removed that roundabout. Thanks.
Thank you for that explanation. Thank you, Mike. So Appendix E, developer funded works. Any queries? No. Bridge works, Appendix F on page 1339. Traffic systems, 140. Combined members grants, there are no projects to report. And road marking, no update. So if that's it, can I ask if that report is noted? Thank you very much indeed. So, any other business? In the board, we can actually raise other business. No other business? Okay. No urgent items. We don't need to exclude the press and public, so I will declare the meeting closed at 8:29. Thank you very much.